Pause, restart. See, even us who have been at this meeting lots sometimes have to say something twice, so we're all okay.
On. Is my mic on?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. All right. So I'd like to welcome everybody who's here. We've got quite an attendance here of experts that are going to help us tonight. I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is March the 9th, 2022, and this is a meeting of the Carbondale, Colorado Parks and Recreation Commission. We're an advisory commission made up of volunteers to assist and consult with town staff and make recommendations to our elected town officials. My name is Hollis Sutherland, and I am honored to be the chair of this commission for this year. And I'm joined by my fellow volunteers, our vice chair, Rose Rosello, Ashley Haight-Manick, who is not with us this evening, Leslie Carey, Susan Ray, John Williams, Brian Sobey, and Misha Logan. Usually we're joined by Eric Brenlinger, our Parks and Recreation Director, who is actually floating down the Grand Canyon in some pretty freezing temperatures. So let's all say some prayers for all of them.
Oh my goodness.
And Jesse Rochelle, our Community Center and Recreation Programs Manager, and Kay McDonald, who is our Boards and Commission Clerk. Luis Yanes is our Board of Trustee Liaison and is not able to be with us tonight. So I would like to welcome all of you and anybody who may be watching this recording or live. Thank you for participating in your local government. It's very important. As a commission, we strive to serve the town of Carbondale by setting aside personal biases and looking what's best for our community. We honor diverse opinions, promote inclusivity, and endeavor to keep our discourse civil and respectful. So we're going to get started with approving the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? Any corrections, edits, additions?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. And Les Carey's seconds. So all in favor? Aye. Okay, so there we go. That passes. Next on our agenda is citizens who are present who are not on the agenda, but I don't think we have anybody in that category. Everybody's here with an agenda item. So moving right along, we are going to talk about the Hendricks Park Playground Replacement Project. And we are so fortunate to have experts in our presence here who are going to give us really solid guidance about what kids these days really want in playground equipment. So,
All right, ladies, come on up. Come on right here, ladies. Come on over. Okay, guys. So it was a crazy day today with all this snow. So we have 5 little girls here and we have 2 little girls on Zoom. This is Alma Rosello. She's mine. This is Gwen DeRutter.
Hi.
Josie McLean.
Hi.
Georgia Owings.
Hi.
And Luna Beatti.
Hi.
And then we have Mila and Jillian on Zoom here. We are troop 1782. We're a Daisy Girl Scout troop. So we can do the presentation whenever you're ready. I also have hard copies if anybody would like a hard copy to follow along, but you're not allowed to go ahead because there's a spoiler alert at the end. Okay, so no going ahead. Okay. Alma, will you bring one over to John, please?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
More. Are there more? Right here. Good. All right, perfect. So as I stated, we are Carbondale Daisy Troop 17082. Something kind of fun. We actually got a donation of $20. And so we looked up online, what could we do with that $20 donation to our troop from Hollis? And what we saw was, if you want to go to the next slide, it's a badge that's called Take Action, which means today we're here to help decide which playground equipment is the best fit for Hendricks Park. This is helping us earn the Take Action badge. And we are taking action in the public process. Oh, careful guys, because this one's got my notes on it. Okay. Oh, you guys lost my notes. Okay. So the first thing that we did was we went to Hendricks Park to see how it looked now. And what we noticed was that one of the bridges was really broken and you could see metal parts. The next one was that it had a lot of swings and we liked that. And it had two separate play structures. Did anybody else notice anything? Nope. Okay, thanks. So our process. So what we did is we took a long time to go over all the different options. And I think we all have those in our slides from Eric. So all the different options. All the girls chose their top three. And then we rated those top three. First, second, and third prize. The first one got 3 points, 2 points, 1 point. We all came down to two different parks that we liked the best, which were A and B. We had more discussion and took a second vote. What we really liked. Mila, would you like to talk about what you really liked about Park F? She may or may not want to talk. We can always come back. Josie picked Park D that she liked the best. Josie, why did you like Park D?
Because it had a web climber and two separate playgrounds.
And did you like the swings?
Yeah, and there was 4 swings.
Perfect. Gwen actually chose option B. Gwen, why did you like option B?
Because it had climbers for kids to climb on.
What did you think about the bridge? Did you like the bridge in that one?
I liked the bridge in that one.
And maybe the slides?
And I liked the slides.
Perfect. Jillian, did you like anything that you wanted to talk about in Park A? And maybe not? That's okay. Maybe totally. Oh, okay. So Jillian is Freezy, that one. Yeah. And the one Chelsea is Mila. Down.
Can you
one.
hear us?
Yes, we can hear
Hello?
you. Yep.
Okay.
I like the swings and the climbers.
And so that was on option A, that she liked the swings and the climbers. Georgia, what did you like about option A?
I like that it had separate playgrounds
What's cool about separate playgrounds?
because there's room for the little kids and the big kids.
Perfect. Luna, what did you like about option A?
I liked about option A that there was a spinner and that option A that looks really cool and it has lots of climbing.
Lots of climbing. Perfect. And Alma, what did you like about option A? Right here's
I like the beautiful green and yellow colors.
perfect. All right. Next.
We are here. This is Mila.
Oh, Mila.
Sorry,
Perfect,
we
Mila,
couldn't-
honey. She chose F. Mila, what did you like about F?
I wanted it too, and I like F because it has a little horsey to ride, and I like A because it has 2 different parks, one for bigger and one for little.
Perfect. Next. Okay, so with our votes, we decided we need to delve in and figure out what's important about parks. So what we looked at was the different parks, because there were 7 options, I believe. And so we decided, what do we want? Do we want one main structure? or do we want two separate structures? Gwen, what did we decide?
Two separate structures.
And that one won 0 to 7 votes. So everybody said they wanted two separate structures. Then we talked about materials because they had different options. There's some with wood and some with plastic. Georgia, what did we decide?
We decided plastic
Yep. Why?
because it's not like as really hard as metal.
We liked the plastic. I think it was because of the colors and because we didn't want to waste trees
Yeah.
on the wood. Then we talked about spinny features versus bouncy features, and we took a vote. Do we want spinny or bouncy features? Alma, what did we decide?
Bouncy features.
Because we really like teeter totters. Okay, next. Swings were such a big thing that we spent a lot of time on them. Does anybody want to talk about what Gwen, why don't you tell me something that we decided about swings? Is 2 enough?
2 isn't enough because more people have to wait for turns. I think 6 is enough because less people have to wait for turns on the swings.
Perfect. Alma, was there anything else you wanted to say about swings? That's fine. So we specifically said 2 swings was not enough.
Jillian, do you want to say? Jillian
yep.
wants to say something.
Perfect.
Go ahead, Jill.
I like the amount of swings and the swings that are kind of downwards.
So that you
That
can
you
have
sit
2
on?
different fun people on them. We decided that an ADA swing was ADA for
No.
sure because it's very important. And out of all the options, we did decide that 6 swings would be best. And if we were to line it out, which took lots of conversation, we would suggest 2 baby swings, 2 standard swings, 1 ADA and 1 multi-gen swing. So that means that a mommy and a baby could be on there, or a big sister and a little brother, little sister. 2 people can be there and you look at each other. And they said that that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Me.
We voted and the final win was for option A, Burke equipment. So I lost my notes on this one. Alma, what did you like best about option A?
The colors.
Okay, Gwen, what did you like best about option A? That's okay, I think it was the climbers. If you don't know, we'll come back to you. What did you like best about the option A?
I liked the swings and the climbers.
Georgia, what did you like best about option A?
I liked that it had like a separate playground.
Yep. And then Gwen, what did you like best about option A?
So I liked that it had lots of climbers, so kids could get exercise.
Ooh, okay. Mila, honey, what did you like best about option A? It's on the screen now. Can they see the screen on Zoom?
We can see it.
Okay.
Mimic.
I like about it that it has 2 different parts and 6 swings.
Perfect. And Jillian, honey, what did you like best about option A?
The swings.
She likes all the swings. All right. Next one. Does anyone have any questions for the girls? Doesn't seem like there's any questions. All right, next slide. We would also, as a Girl Scout troop, like to make a donation. So we took another vote and decided that we would like to donate a
Teeter totter.
to the park. Wow. So thank you, Parks and Rec Commission. We appreciate you taking our thoughts and opinions into consideration.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job, ladies.
Thank you.
And thank you all y'all.
Right.
Good job.
Wow, ladies, you like blew my mind. You're so thorough. Wow. And such solid reasoning too. And what an amazing process you went through to come up with your recommendation and everything. It's awesome.
Hollis, I think they did all our work for us.
Yeah. Well, kind of when Eric told me they were coming, I was like, and I wouldn't really probably go with what the kids want. It's been a few years since I've been to a playground, gotta say. Yeah, you guys did an amazing job.
So you guys are welcome to stay. I think next, is this next? time?
No, yeah, we're
We're
staying on
gonna
this.
talk
We're
about
gonna
the
keep
park
talking
with
about this.
with our opinions, and there may be some people that are also wanting to talk about it. So you guys are welcome to stay, or you guys are also welcome to go home on this snowy night. I can send out a text about the final decision later today about what I know, and then I don't know if we make a decision or if
We vote on
we're
it
going to make a
tonight.
decision, and then we bring that decision to
Eric.
Eric and the town trustees, and they'll make a final decision. So I will let everybody know how it goes tonight, but thank you for coming tonight.
Good job to you too.
Yeah,
Rose.
good job. Good job, troop leaders. Did you guys have a chance to use the sheets, the assessment sheets or anything that Eric sent out, looking at the different things? I have to say, A was one of my top ones. There were two that I came up with that were I had the most points out of all of them, and it was A and it was F. However, I did not have the input of the experts, and I don't think F has, it doesn't have as much, you guys want like the climby stuff, right?
Yeah, a lot of them
And I
are
don't
like the
think F
climbers,
has
and
as
I
much
think the
climby
parks.
stuff.
Can we pull up what they look like? Is that something that you have on
Hollis?
yours?
Here, I've got them here.
Yeah, I have them in here. Just didn't know if.
Hollis, I looked at F and I thought they had a lot of excellent scores, but there's no shade. And when I talked to parents of kids, they said that the parks get really hot and they like the shade structures.
Okay.
I really am amazed that I'm in tune with all the little kids over there. 'Cause I
You
really
know what's
like
up.
A
You're a
first
kid in heart.
because of the swings, the 5 or 6 different swings with the ADA. Swing was super important in the shade. And so I'm really on board with A.
Obviously, after listening to all my girls, I also think A is a good option. Misha, did you have a chance to look at them?
Yeah, I think A is really good design. The one thing I did like was that little web kind of climbing structure on D. I thought that was cool.
That's what Josie thought too.
Yeah, I had that note too.
But when we took a deeper look at what A had to offer, it has all those options plus a spinner like built in. And then it has, when you look at it, it's got a lot of metal climbers. It doesn't have the rope climbers, but there is technically the Ross Montessori School, which once school is out, it becomes a public park. So in the summers, there is a rope climber right around the corner. If someone was more interested in going on a rope climber, they could go 100 feet, a block down the way and go on a rope climber too.
Okay. All right. Brian? Susan?
A.
Hi.
That was
You have
me.
any input on this, Brian?
A.
Oh, A, sorry. I thought you were saying hey, like hi.
And then Susan's got her hand up.
Susan?
A, I mean, A had the best presentation and it was also the first one we saw as we were going through the document. So that gave it an advantage. All the others were kind of compared to me. I was like comparing it to that one all the time. The presentations of B, C, and D from Game Time, I found really confusing. I didn't like their presentation, just wasn't as helpful. And I found myself totally frustrated, just like the kids were. It's like, I want one from D and I want 3 from A and I want one, I want a couple of the elements from several of the proposals. So I really like that climber thing. But if you say that there's one accessible that's usable for public over at Montessori, that changes it up a little bit. It kind of surprises me because I also noticed that, so we use this company from A, flushing my papers around, trying to remember what's what.
At Miners Park, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right,
so we
Susan.
used them at Miners Park. So we have experience using them and, it was all good stuff. And that Berkey equipment looks really good. I was a little bit surprised. Their price for the engineered wood fiber was almost double everybody else. And I don't know if that was because they're trying to recycle a lot of the existing wood fiber that's there or what the deal was, but that just kind of came out. I don't know, just kind of a yellow light went off with that. I'm not sure. I think we need more information about that, why that's so much more than the other proposals. And then it was, let's see. Yeah, and so then E, I really liked them, and they're the ones that had like the wood structure, and that is a sustainable fiber, sustainable tree wood that's from the UK. I looked it up, and it's got a really high positive rating on it for sustainable practices and sustainable materials. And it really caught my eye because this summer I was visiting Croatia. And I was walking around and I came into a park and it just drew me in. And it was the smallest little kids park. It had one little structure in it that looked like some of these things that were on E. But it was made out of wood and, wood materials and wood roofing. I don't know, there was just something that was really, really attractive about it, compelling to want to go use and touch. And not looking like another one of these bulbous little tykes, ubiquitous toy structures that we see everywhere. So that one actually got the same, when I went through the numbers, I probably nudged it a little bit, but it got the same rating overall for me as did A. Both got to 47. So I think, both are really good. I'm just a little bit, I don't know.
I had a totally different opinion on that
good.
one and didn't rate it very high because it didn't look like they had very many. First off, there were only 2 swings.
Yeah.
And then the other piece to it is it looked like, that was heavily weighted to the 5 to 12-year-olds. I couldn't even see what was available for the 2 to 5-year-olds.
Right.
And it only had like a 13 child capacity where A has like an 80 or something like that.
Which seems a little high, but.
Child capacity, well, that's like, I think if it's maxed out, but user capacity of 82.
Right.
So, and there is a wood playground in RVR, in one of the public parks.
Orchard.
Yeah, the Orchard Park one,
Uh-huh.
not the triangle one, but the other one where the little cabin is and stuff like that.
And
Right,
Ross has
right.
the wooden part.
And Ross has the wooden stuff too.
And that
And-
company
and-
also in the weeds of that company, I didn't look in the weeds of everything, but I kind of noticed on that one that they very cutesily phrased it as, oh, they're going to pull everything out, but Carbondale's going to get to waste everything and recycle everything. Whereas the other companies pulled everything out and got rid of it as part of their project.
Which one was that, Susan?
I think that was D. That was the wood structure people.
E is
I'm
the
sorry,
wood structure,
E.
yep.
The
Okay.
the compound people.
Okay.
And we liked the funky designs, like the lids, like the roofs
Yeah, the
of
roofs.
E. We loved the look of that. But when we because we looked a little bit at the parks before we left and went to the park, and 2 swings, it just wasn't,
that was
it's
ridiculous.
just not enough swings.
So your scouts identified a multi-gen swing, but I didn't see that on any of the proposals.
That's on one of the slides. When I talked to Eric, he said these are just general designs, and then we can sort out the logistics like swings and then whatever feature they wanted to donate, that we could figure out all that moving forward, and that's all included in the pricing.
That would be really good. I like that multi-generational swing. Yeah, those are good. Because that's also one of the things that's real important for the the accessibility community, the universal design community, or those kinds of structures. Because it would be nice if I could get on the swing too, that it would be that durable that I can get on the swing with a 4-year-old, 5-year-old and play with them.
And we don't have one. It's exactly like nothing else that we have
Right,
in
right.
our parks yet.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
But at the same time, as long as we could do one of those and one ADA swing, that was, I think that's what's important to me, and that was important to them.
The other thing, I mean, Eric's not here. We can't ask about it, but I didn't know what this EWF was. So I looked it up, engineered wood fiber. And so it has about an 8-year lifespan if you take care of it well. And you have to put like landing zones under swings and things like that where it gets compressed, where it gets heavily compressed, because it won't survive there. But the other surface that I've liked in playgrounds that I've been to is the poured rubber.
Yeah.
But it's more like $8 a square foot instead of $4, but it lasts twice as long.
So I agree with you. We love the poured rubber. It can get a little hot. And I think the reason we use the scrap wood is because we actually get it for free from the companies, right? The wood companies, and they come and we get all of it. So we don't have to pay for it, from my understanding.
No,
the wood.
it's line item. It's like
not
10.
wood chips though.
Oh, this one wouldn't be
This
wood
isn't,
chips?
this is.
No, this is an
Yeah,
engineered.
Susan, this is different than regular wood chips, right?
Oh, yeah, I
This
know,
is-
I know. It's
No,
an
I'm
engineered-
asking you, since you looked it up,
Yeah, no, it's an engineered product.
it's
an
not
Oh.
wood chip.
This
It's
one
not
would be a different flooring. All I got was the pictures and the ones that we.
And it's
Right.
not free.
I'm not
It's
an expert
free.
on this stuff. And
It's like, so that was-
unfortunately, Ashley's not here. She is
So in the
our
budget for
expert on
A,
this
it was
stuff.
like $10,000 and then another $3,000 for installation or something.
Do you know, Jesse, if any of the parks have that now, the engineered?
I think that's what's in the park.
It's at Hendricks now.
And does it stay, is that the thing that goes all over the place, or is that the stuff that stays contained?
It goes all over the place.
Goes all over the place because it gets compressed under the swings and
Okay,
everything.
yeah.
I mean, you saw that at the one park, Colorado Meadows.
Yeah.
So I guess if Eric wanted something different, like, and you wanted to go with the poured thing, then that would be, that'd be worked out in the details, and that would change the pricing, and he'd have to be willing to go higher in the budget or something like that with that kind of stuff, but. Right, that'd be more of the details.
Oh, right. It's like twice as expensive.
Yeah, that he would,
So that was another question I had. Where did the $80,000 budget come from?
that was part of our capital improvement plan stuff that was voted on before you came onto the commission. All that stuff happens in the summer.
Okay.
And there's a rolling calendar that goes out like 5 to 10 years of what we're looking at doing. So that was already, like I said, voted on, and the budget approved and everything about the time, the budget was approved like right about the time, I think, you came on the commission. So that would have been the prior commission that approved Eric's plan for the capital improvement projects. But this is something that's needed to be replaced because it's breaking down.
Right.
And it's unsafe. A lot of pieces are unsafe. So it's got to be replaced.
Right. Do we have any poured rubber playgrounds?
Not in Carbondale.
Middle school.
Oh, the middle school.
And that one, there's probably an issue with heat, but it's blue, so there's not quite as much, it doesn't get quite as hot. And it has a big kind of like tarp over it that
Okay.
stretches across at least the part that you would like play on
Yeah,
to kind of cool it down.
okay. Isn't that rubbery stuff too under the big climbing rock by the rec center out here? Yeah, okay. Misha, did I already ask you what you thought of A or any of the other ones that you?
I said I was a fan of the structure that D had, but I like A. I think A is a pretty good choice if we had to pick one.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because you liked the ropey thing. I liked that one too on D, so, yeah. Okay.
It's the Roby thing.
Are you guys ready to,
Does anybody want to make a motion?
yeah, vote on, or, make a motion? Is there any more discussion or thoughts that you wanted to share?
I want to increase the budget.
We will
Okay,
kindly
Susan,
take a donation. Thank you, Susan. How much would you like to donate?
how much is the teeter totter cost?
We've got it worked out with Eric, I think. And we're gonna donate. We've, I don't want to say it in public process, but we've got a lot of money in our account from selling Girl Scout cookies, so we're good.
Girls rock it.
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
We do okay in the biz.
All right. Okay. All right. So does anyone want to make a motion on playground equipment?
I mean, I make a motion to vote for Burke equipment.
I'll second that one.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Don't we have discussion?
I asked if there was anything else. Yeah.
Oh, so but the issue of getting that the swing that you said, checking.
And
it out.
that's all in the details once we pick the park and then Eric chooses I mean, we can talk about this. We could make a second motion for choosing the swings.
We
But
can do
it's all
that.
gonna come down to.
It's all
Eric.
gonna come back down to Eric working it out with this budget.
Okay.
But yeah, we can go ahead and make a second. So the motion on the table is to accept A and work with Burke, the Burke Playground. And so all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Motion carries.
I make a second motion for the 6 swings to have 2 baby swings, 2 standard swings, 1 ADA swing, and 1 multi-generational swing. As long as budgeting permits.
I'll second that. That's exactly what I was voting for
My girls know what's up.
decision.
So is
Okay.
this all or nothing? So if the budget doesn't permit it in its entirety, then it doesn't happen? How's this?
No, it's just that one fancy swing and from my understanding, the 88, we have it in our budget to buy 2 I don't know, fancier swings and then the other swings. I think that this is part of the plan
It's-
already.
Yeah, I think when you look at the A thing, aren't they giving it all 3 of those? That was
They
part
just
of
have
it.
1 ADA swing and then I think it's 3 standard
Two.
swings, but I think it was part of what Eric and I had originally discussed at the very beginning of this.
So I think really when it comes down to this, Brian, it would be, just letting Eric know that we, how we all stand on this, so, but I don't think it's like, if we don't have this, we're not going, because we already voted on going with Burke. So it's just kind of saying, hey, we really want this and support this if you can get it.
And his RFP stated that the proposal is to be a not to exceed price submittal with the overall project budget set at 80,000, but actual billing will be based on time, material, and equipment costs.
Yeah, but if we start doing stuff like this and it turns into change orders, then
I don't think the actual equipment is
it-
ordered yet.
Nothing's been ordered yet. This is just approving who we're gonna go with. And then from here, they're gonna start working with them and getting the order done and everything like that.
okay. So the vote is for a preference on the swing configuration
Yes.
over-
Correct.
over the standard or the default.
And it does look like they've got 2 kind of.
The only difference is that in the standard one here, there's 2 infants, 2 ADAs and 2 belted. And we're just swapping one of those for
DAs
an
for a
adult.
multi-gen, yeah.
So it's not any big change even.
Yeah, that's all we're asking is to swap one of the swings out for a multi-generation. Susan?
They had a very detailed proposal.
Yep,
They listed every piece of equipment on there.
yes.
And
sort of
I mean,
know-
it's got this, spinnies, it's got so many
Yes, but
different options.
this is just giving Eric some guidance on what our preference is. what it could be. I mean, everything we do here is not binding. What the trustees do is binding. So we're advising and we're just kind of like emphasizing that this is something important to us. If we agree to it. So you guys ready to vote?
Yeah,
I thought we already did.
on the second part.
This is on the swing.
We made the motion, we seconded the motion, now we can vote.
Now,
As
do you
long as
want to
everyone's ready.
reread the motion? Okay, so that everybody's clear on the second one regarding the swing set?
Rose moved for the 6 swing configuration to include 2 baby swings, 2 standard swings, 1 ADA swing, and 1 multi-generational swing, as long as the budget permits. And John seconded.
Okay. Okay, so all in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Yay.
Oh my God, I'm gonna text the girls.
It's very
It is really
exciting.
Eric said we may be able to get a little plaque somewhere in the world too.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited.
Okay. Breaking news.
I really like that system for picking playground equipment. So keep those troops together.
That's right.
That was perfect.
Yeah, very well done. All right. So we're moving right along. Gentlemen. Bob, Rich, Briston.
Right on schedule.
Are we ahead? Are we ahead? Oh, I'm working on it.
Wow.
You're trying to stand up to my Girl Scout like presentation?
Yeah, I don't know. You got stiff competition now on this presentation.
That was actually a Canva. Has anybody played in Canva before? It's so fun. Oh, yeah.
I got 2.
Different demographic.
This is helpful with my notes.
Good evening, I'm Bob Schultz, Rich Camp, Kristen Peterson, and
Is the microphone on there? Bob? So all are,
can you hear out there in the video world?
yeah.
Brian, Susan, do you hear us?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bob Schultz, Rich Camp, Kristen Peterson, the managing partner for the Lot 1 project. We've been here a couple of times and we think that we're getting there on getting everything kind of put together. And there's really 2 questions that were in the memo that I shared. One, are you comfortable with the park and the maintenance plan? The park plan we've revised after each one of our meetings with you to accommodate the advice that we got. And the maintenance plan, we work mostly with Eric. We started with some previous agreements the town had used and then kind of upgraded them based on what we've learned through those experiences. That'll all get, if we move forward, go through the town attorney who will put that into more legal type documents. Right now, they're working documents that are meant to show the intentions and then they get transferred into something that is in a form that can be recorded. And then the second question is about the easement versus the fee simple dedication. I won't reiterate all that again. The nutshell version is just, we started down a road, the rules got changed. We are where we are and we're trying to find a way to meet the town's intentions and still allow the project to do what it needs to do to create some separately financeable lots. And so we've come up with the condo approach. Ultimately, this will be the town trustees' decision, but like when we were at the park or at the Planning and Zoning Commission, They really wanted to defer to parks on the park issue, and they dealt with the planning issues. And I think that the trustees are going to want to hear from the planning commission about the planning issues and the Parks and Recreation Commission about the parks issues. So that's where we're at, and be glad to answer questions. The only real significant difference from the previous version at our last meeting, where we had accommodated the restrooms and the other changes that you advise, is you now see some equipment examples. It's a company down in, is it Durango? That is the supplier. Eric did some homework on these, and it seems like there's a comfort level with their product. So that brings us to today, and these two questions we would like you to see if you can come to a resolution on, in the hopes that we can get in front of the town trustees next month and get an answer one way or the other from them about what they want to do here.
Okay, any questions or comments for these gentlemen?
Well, yeah, I think you guys did real good on making those changes to adding the bathrooms and the parking. And I really like that. I got one question here. On this map you got us, which way is north? I can't.
Up.
Yeah.
The top is north, and so the Shorty Paps Way is to the west side.
Correct.
And then what's the road on the east side?
Hendricks.
That's this continuation of Hendricks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, this is the parking lot, but the road is Hendricks. In the drawing here, just to the right of it is a parking lot.
Yeah, but what you see there is a connecting path from Main Street that bifurcates, goes right through parcel 1. It goes from Main Street to effectively the front door of City Market.
So the idea there would be somebody who was on their bicycle or walking, or if they didn't want to walk out on Hendrick, they would walk through the center of the property. And this lines up with that walkway right in front of City Market, so that if you didn't want to be on your bike out on Hendrick, you could go through the center of the property.
Okay, so City Market's over here.
City Market is above.
It's north.
It's up here.
Yes, if you follow that path to the top, that takes you to that driving surface between City Market and this property. And then if you extend on to that, you're right onto their walkway right in front of City Market.
Okay, so the buildings that have been built already are not showing up on this.
They're to the north.
Yeah.
There's a parking lot, and then the 3 buildings are along that northern edge.
So the one that's just under construction now will be on this drawing to the right of where that pathway is going through the City Market. And the 2 that are already occupied would be to the left.
Okay,
At the top.
Correct.
Yeah.
okay. Thanks.
I
for-
think in the first presentation, we showed an overall site plan.
Mhm,
And the way this works is the buildings work around the outside,
mhm.
and the park is in the middle, and the parking lots are
Right.
all in the middle.
I was just trying to get.
Yeah. It's hard to tell. It's just the enlargement.
Yeah.
And this playground equipment is really cool and unlike anything else we have anywhere else too. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys really putting in the effort for finding something different for your area. This is pretty neat stuff.
Now, do you think that's just gonna be 3 pieces of equipment or more? You're just giving it examples or what? It just the
Maybe they were taking
space?
notes earlier when the kids were talking.
Yeah. There's three pieces that we proposed that actually fit different age groups, and it was helpful to hear the presentation before this, because we have some climbing. There's a rope structure in there that you can actually hang and climb on the rope, and you can climb on these 2 boulder ends.
Mhm.
And then there's some balancing structures in there that hits different age groups. I think, Rich, correct me if I'm wrong, was like from 6 to 12 primarily.
That's the older group, and I think 2 to 5 Will be the younger group.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can swap one of those out for the teeter totters, those were really high.
So we got a lot of experts if you guys are interested in a little consultation.
It's helpful.
We charge in Girl Scout cookie
Yeah.
purchases.
Okay.
Hollis,
Okay,
I
so the
have a-
first,
Hollis?
yeah, Susan. Mhm.
So I have some, I can't remember, and I was trying to talk about it with somebody, parking questions and access questions. So the parking that's to the right, looking at this map, the parking that's to the right, that's gonna be inside the building quadruplex, four sides of buildings, that's gonna be for residences only?
Right, the, the parking for the public is on the perimeter. So there's parking spaces along Hendrick, Main, and then we added the ones along Shorty Paps and made those public spaces as well.
So
Those
the
are
egre-
actually,
So the egress from those other sides comes between the buildings or only comes in through this major walkway?
there's easements in front of the buildings that are existing on the north side of this. And there is the central walkway. And then I wish I'd have brought the drawing from last time. We provided you with a easement drawing in our packet, but I didn't bring it today. There's access from all four sides into the property.
Well, that's what I'm looking at. I'm actually looking at the older document.
Yeah.
And like from Shorty Paps Way, you've got buildings L and K. And are those walkways between the buildings that go from the parking lot to the futsal court area?
We would not be encouraging the public to walk between buildings K and L.
But you're gonna have public parking out there that you intend to be parking?
And people would use the walkway on the north side to get over there.
People don't like to do that, you know that. Right? I mean, people are gonna walk through.
That would not be ideal. There are plenty of ways to get into the site, and we can certainly do something with wayfinding to help with that. And I'm sure there will be occasions where people walk between buildings, but that's not really the intention. The intention would be more like a miners park or Sopris or some other park where the parking is on the perimeter and then you come into the park.
Are the pink circles picnic tables or other trees?
Trees.
Trees, okay.
So this Parkview Court on the south side. Isn't that Main Street?
There's Parkview Court and then there's a row of buildings and then there's Main Street.
Okay,
So the people from Main Street would either come in through that central trail that, is on the right-hand side of your drawing, or they would walk down to Shorty Paps.
so the entrance basically at one of the two corners on the south
Correct.
and on the north.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an entrance on Shorty Paps down there by Parkview Court?
There is a sidewalk that goes along those parking spaces there. I think somebody could probably cut the corner, just cut across the grass there, but there's no defined trail.
But there won't be fences blocking.
There's no fence proposed there.
Okay.
There's a fence around the futsal court and you enter that through the gazebo.
Right,
So
right,
that kind of gets people entering that way.
right.
I
That's
just
necessary.
remember
for
when
the
you were here
futsal.
last. I wanted to pull up that packet. Do you remember when you were here last?
Read me in January.
January?
I think it was January.
My phone is in my pocket.
That's okay. I'm just going in.
So what's before us is to approve the maintenance agreement and approve the dedication.
Where's the, oh, sorry.
Yes, well, first off, it's just a rough concept of what the maintenance agreement is. Once we say, yes, we approve this or whatever, then it goes to Eric, then he starts working with the attorney, and then they're gonna come up with a legal document. So we're not gonna be involved with, at this stage, looking at that, but wanting to make sure all the elements, the high level elements were in there. Is that correct, gentlemen?
Yeah, it's actually
It's
pretty specific.
Yeah,
We spent, it's gone back and forth with Eric
Yeah.
and
it has.
we've tried to get it as obviously there's going to be a different format, but I mean, it's down to how often you mow and
Yeah,
how often you put compost down and how often you reseed. It's a pretty specific work plan, and it's one that the town uses. So it's based off of a combination of a previous agreement and what you do right now on your parks to try and make them look the same, have the same program, even though in this case you wouldn't be doing it or paying for it. So.
and in talking with Eric before he left on his trip, he was comfortable with where everything was. At least that
We
was my,
basically
at least
adopted
that's my impression.
all of his recommendations have been,
Yeah.
we haven't disagreed with any of his recommendations.
And you'd be, the development would be taking care of those, the mowing and sprinkler and all that. And the stormwater retention pond.
Right.
And where is that on the map?
It's underneath everything.
It's underneath
The
it.
light dashed line that goes underneath the middle of the park.
So in the green space, you see something that looks kind of like a bunch of pipes in a network, a grid.
Oh, yeah.
That's the stormwater system. And basically what it does is stormwater flows from different parts of the property into the site, and it's like a dry well. It percolates down into the ground.
And part of that would be under the playground and part would be to the south of that.
Correct.
And that concrete path would go over it.
And the agreement would be that, like any easement, if you break it, you fix it. So if you have to get in there and do something, then it's your responsibility to put it back, our responsibility to put it back the way it was beforehand.
And that's on whether the town goes with an easement or a dedication.
We don't have a dedication program. If the trustees say that's all we'll take, then I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're not in a position to dedicate 15% at the moment.
Because of the bank loan.
Right. We've had a concept of something that we'll talk to the town attorney about to try and just like we try and address your concerns and Eric's concerns. So now we'll, if we get past this stage, we'll start working on the town attorney's concerns to see if there's something more than what we're giving today that gets him comfortable. And, you gotta solve problems as you move forward, and hopefully we can get there. And if not, it'll be a decision of the trustees to take it or not take it.
In our packet, we got a memorandum from 2016 with did you guys get that also from the town attorney concerning the RVR?
Correct.
Parks and their maintenance program? Is that something, the maintenance program, or what are we going to, the
Capital replacement?
Well, the management plan, the maintenance management plan, would that be that style, that type of plan that we have with RVR work with you guys?
We ended up with something that has a lot more detail to it than the RVR one had. Eric felt like there were some things that were left to interpretation that he didn't want left to interpretation. So this is a lot more specific.
Did we get that in the packet, that specific plan?
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much.
title of it is
That's all.
grounds landscape maintenance of lot 1 park on the top of it.
What went Main Street Condominium Association?
No,
That's stormwater.
this one,
It's a 2-page document and
Got it. 210, page 210. It's after the diagram, after the playground equipment. Page after. the-
Grounds landscape maintenance in lot 1 park?
Yeah,
Okay. And you guys are responsible for taking care of all that,
Yep.
assuming that it's a easement.
Correct.
Well, I like everything except for isn't the easement versus the dedication, isn't that basically the only real difference is ownership of the property?
And who pays for the improvements and the maintenance? If somebody dedicates land, they can also either propose to improve it or pay a $700 a unit fee. And then the ongoing responsibility for maintenance is typically the town's then. It doesn't make any sense to me in this case because Bristol's going to be mowing the lawn everywhere around here. So why wouldn't you just go out and, mow the lawn or do the watering or do the seeding or do it when you're doing it all around it? It just seems like it makes more sense to do it all.
Well, it just adds that much more.
the easement goes into perpetuity. The easement goes into perpetuity, so as long as that property is there,
Yeah,
they have to take care of it. Okay, so Bob, what you were saying, if I understand this correctly, then if we were to own the property, then we would be responsible for all the costs and the maintenance and everything else. So in a way, we're getting a public park that we're not having to pay to maintain.
not necessarily. That would be worked out in a MOU type of agreement between the two parties. It's not just a cut and dry standard. One thing goes with here and one thing goes with here. You work that out in agreement. That's why we have MOUs. It's not necessarily a given that that's what it's going to be.
But that's what's written in here, correct?
We would take care of all the maintenance. We
It
would
still
do
needs
the
to be-
Receding.
And
But if it was a dedicated property, they could still be taking care of all the maintenance depending on the agreement that they work out with the town.
But the point is like when the playground equipment wears out or the futsal court wears out,
Yeah,
we
they pay.
would be responsible. The town would be
It
responsible.
depends on the agreement you make with them from the get-go.
But, okay, but isn't that written in here that you guys would be replacing that? The capital long-term improve, that's written all in here. That they are taking responsibility for that.
Yeah. Whether it's an easement or a dedication is what I'm saying. Either one of them, they're gonna be responsible for that.
Well, they wouldn't have to be if it wasn't.
If it's in the
If it was
agreement, it
dedicated.
depends on the agreement that we haven't worked out yet.
So John, what are you asking?
Yeah, so
for?
I'm not sure so you don't like the idea of an easement.
Right.
So you're against the easement.
You would
Right.
rather it be a.
I'd rather town park be owned by the town and
Just one
the
little section.
development, whether it's the condo association or the developers or whomever, takes care of the maintenance and management and replacement. Especially the stormwater pond and the rest of the stuff. So, it could come down to, we went with an easement later on, it could come down to, we'd be dealing with each one of the condos would be their own HOA, and we'd be dealing with 7 HOAs instead of us being in charge of it.
Just for the clarification, the the agreement and the condo declarations, there's only one association and one board. Even if different parts of it were sold off at some point in the future, there's one agreement with one association, and the responsibilities financially are based on the amount of land that each one of these land condo units has. And so you know what you're getting into if you bought, one of the apartment buildings or something, that you have this percentage of the financial responsibility that's yours. So it wouldn't be a situation where you were dealing with 7 different groups. But I
Well-
understand your point about there are advantages to ownership. You can do whatever you want. You could go out there tomorrow and decide we want to do ping pong, or whatever. Whereas in the easement, you're in a relationship, and so there has to be conversation and there has to be communication. The reward of that is that, my conversations with Eric, he has concern of whether the town could take on another park right now. And our responsibilities legally are to offer up enough land to cover the people who live in this property. And that's the basis on which we collect the park dedication, and the park improvement fee is based on that calculus. And so that's where our legal responsibilities lie.
Susan, Brian, do you have anything to say?
I feel like this is going back in time, and that I didn't understand when this first came before us, that there really was an option between an easement and a dedication. I thought that what I understood how it was presented was that the dedication doesn't apply, or it wasn't required under their prior permit to build, but because they came back with this change up for the financing structure, it changed the way the city had to negotiate the prior agreement, or kind of make the prior agreement fit into the new structure. So that the dedication doesn't fit this project, an easement fits this project. And that's how we've landed here, right?
Almost. The town could refuse to accept an easement. And that would be something that we would have to figure out what we would do. The part where you said, so we got approval in 2018. At that time, our only responsibility was to provide common open space for the people who lived here and not to dedicate land to the town. In 2019, the UDC was changed, and it required condominium subdivisions to dedicate 15%. We already had an approved plan. We have a stormwater system that's in this property where the park is going to be. And so we were caught in this change that occurred. And our solution to that is to provide an easement, and in response to the issues, we offered to pay for the improvements that are many times the $80,000 that we would have to dedicate for park improvements, and to take care of the ongoing maintenance, and then to create a fund for capital replacement of the facilities. It's still up to the town. Town trustees could say, fine, we did this at Keter Grove, we'll do it here. Or they could say no, and you got to go back to square one and figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's their choice.
It's important to understand that the stormwater management system is already installed, and that supports private roads. It doesn't support public roads. So these become conversations with the town trustees. So I'm not sure the issue at hand is, for you guys to vote on easement versus dedication. think that becomes a conversation with the trustees.
What's the interaction between the stormwater management system and the other kind of public land area? Are you saying that the public land is in the stormwater management system? Or is it was suggested, at least the way I understood it, to be that those areas overlapped.
What was the end of your sentence?
It was suggested, at least the way I understood it, to be that those areas overlapped.
Overlap, did you say?
Overlapped, yeah.
Yes, the stormwater management system is under the green space in the right-hand side of the park, if you're looking at a drawing. And a portion of it is underneath where the playground equipment would be. And there's an outline of that system on the rendering of the park site.
And so the stormwater management system in itself is a public space? That's what's being proposed?
It's subsurface.
Yeah, it's a below grade dry well system, if that makes any sense to you.
Okay. But, you know, with respect to usability, that's totally open. People can use that as a public space in the normal ways that they use public spaces.
They
It's
would
not-
have no idea that this exists underneath the park.
Okay, so you could put like, and this is just notional, obviously, you could put a soccer field or something like that over that. There aren't usage restrictions like that would prevent normal public space usage of those areas because of what's under it.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And it's also written in the agreement that if repair needs to be done on that they would have to, you know, once it was all fixed and whatever, they have to return it to a usable space again, at least the way that it was. But I think there's flexibility to put something else different on
Right, if
there
over
at some
time,
point, over
yeah.
time when.
Even
know.
like the futsal court, if in 15 years, the surface needs to be redone and futsal isn't a thing, you know, we need to sit down and talk about what makes sense there.
Right. We could put in lawn bowling or something. Cribbage or whatever, what do
Going
they
back
play?
to what you said in Bob's letter to us, his two questions are, do we support the proposed park plans?
Mhm.
And the second one, do we support accepting an easement rather than a fee simple dedication?
Right.
Right,
So it is part of this discussion
And,
tonight.
yes,
The
Sure.
trustees are going to want to hear
Right,
your
they're the-
recommendation.
yeah.
They're the
So-
final decision, but they're going to want to know our opinion.
Correct.
So let's just take each of those questions as is. Then the very first one is, you know, how do we exactly say it?
Proposed park
Proposed park. Are you-
and maintenance plan.
Yeah, so are you guys good, you know, or like, what other questions do you have specifically about the layout, how it's gonna be taken care of?
Can we make a motion?
You can make a motion.
Well, I like the plan. It's just fine. They've adapted to what we've asked. The access from the parking spaces to the interior of the park is a little difficult, but I like that part. And as long as they're in charge of the maintenance plan, I like the maintenance plan. I don't wanna,
Do I hear a motion?
I don't wanna stress the town anymore. So I'll make a motion that that the Parks and Rec Commission likes the proposed park and maintenance plan with the
That we accept the proposed park and maintenance plan,
yeah, as long as they're doing the maintenance
Can I
which
interject
is
a
in, the
question?
which is in the maintenance plan.
under the easement part.
Before we do that, can I
No, we're not talking about the easement yet.
But they're in the maintenance plan, they're responsible for the maintenance as long as it's an easement. correct?
Yeah, we don't have.
Well, they
a-
don't
we
have
a
another way
plan.
of doing it at this point. So if we, it's,
So I support the maintenance plan, whether it's an easement or dedication.
I second that.
Can I'd like to ask a
Brian,
question about the maintenance
yeah.
plan if possible.
go ahead.
So do we have a standard for maintenance? Like what, and this maybe just is my ignorance in maintenance of facilities, but do we have a way to know that the maintenance plan is in line with the town's standards for maintenance, or what defines properly maintained, or what qualifies something for maintenance?
Yeah, it's already laid out in the packet.
Yeah, but, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. This was worked, Bob and Eric went back and forth a lot on this. So Eric's been involved in this. And what I asked him to include, because other people had asked for before, and there really is that whole background with the RVR stuff that the town attorney had to pull out of a lot of different documents that Jay asked years ago when he first came on board, how is this all working? And so they've learned from working with RVR what works and what doesn't work, or what needs to be tightened up. And that's what Eric's been working with Bob on to clarify some of that muddy stuff, and also proceeding like with the noxious weeds and stuff like that, following our town weed management plan and different things like that. Does that answer your question?
I mean, that's really what I'm asking is if the maintenance is bound by the town's current policies, or if every time something comes up, do we need to say like, well, actually, this hole in the field is only 6 inches and not 8 inches. And the agreement written 12 years ago, speaking from the future, the agreement written 12 years ago said that any hole less than 8 inches does not need to be filled. Like, is this a running standard? Is this a standard fixed in time? What are we using for standards here to define the maintenance minimum bar?
Yeah, and I think as Hollis said, we started with looking at the RVR situation and what do we learn from the town's perspective. There are two things. My understanding of what Eric said that he learned from that were there need to be more specificity in the maintenance agreement, and there needed to be a replacement fund so that if there was a piece of equipment that needed to be replaced, there wasn't an argument about whether there was money to do it then. So every year we have to put money into a reserve fund so that whatever year something needs to be replaced, there's been money set aside every year, so there's not this situation of, and apparently that was an issue at RVR on one of the situations they had. So those were kind of the things that are changes from previous agreements. So it's basically based on a town maintenance plan and what they learned from RVR and the capital replacement fund.
Does
So
that answer?
that's the ability to do it. And it sounds like you guys are collecting a fee from folks to fill that fund. The question then becomes obligation, and when you need to take funds from that and actually do something. So is this something where it would be subject to the current policies of the town, such that the town can decide the standard of maintenance in any given year, and this would track with those, or to be fixed in time such that 15 years from now, when the standards have changed umpteen billion times, this park is the only park that is not maintained to the level of current parks because it is fixed at the time of inception based on the contracts exercised at that time.
Yeah, I don't know that we have addressed that. We can certainly put that on the list of things that we talk about when we draw up the legal agreement. So we can put that on the topic of discussion with Eric. The things that we've talked about are changing needs on the programming for the park and being able to adapt when facilities need to be replaced to address new realities. We haven't talked about what if all of a sudden the town wants to mow the lawn twice a week or something. If we want to put something in there that creates waypoints to check in on things, we can certainly put that on the agenda.
Okay, well, I think we heard from the kids when they were looking at the different facilities at the playgrounds to say, hey, there are exposed parts, there are things like that. And I would imagine just practically at some point in the future, there could be a standard that says there are no anything with sharp, pokey things exposed to give you tetanus or no longer allowed at kids' parks. And while that may be unstated today, that could be explicit in the future. And so I would think that the town would want to go forward with their standards in all public spaces. And so it sounds like you're saying that should be an item for negotiation in the future. Would you be open to having that as a running standard to say that just shall be compliant with then current standards?
Yeah, we've kind of got that in regard to weeds. So it's whatever weed management plan is in place at that time. We can certainly put that on the agenda to work through that. I think if the agreement is that it's the same thing the town does on every other property, then that gives everybody a reason to be consistent and it's fair is fair. Does that respond to your question, Brian?
Roughly. Yeah, I'd say this is just an item we need to call out explicitly to say that, it should be our recommendation that the structure of the agreement with this space be that it maintains compliance with then current standards for the town. That way the town can not have this be a one-off for public spaces.
Who's covering the insurance on this park and stuff? Does that fall under the town since it's the town park and stuff like that? So part of it too, if I understand that correctly, then is if they're all of a sudden they say you can't have sharp objects or whatever, then our insurance company is going to be looking at things and saying you need to get rid of that sharp thing or whatever it is. So if something is broken or something isn't fitting anymore, is that part of the agreement then? Does that fall under this, that it needs to be replaced then? Or is that something that still needs to get hammered out?
I think
this
these are all
agreement
good things to note. And when we work with Mark to draw up the agreement, I think if we have a list of these, that's great. And it doesn't, even if you don't have them tonight, you think of it, later.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be over the next few weeks that we start talking to the town attorney about this. So just forward along. We got one right before Eric left about some moisture sensor irrigation equipment. And so we'll incorporate that into the plan. So anything that town would make themselves do, it seems reasonable that we would do the same thing. If it's something that the town wouldn't spend its own money on, that's being asked to be done, then that seems a little, So he wanted these specific irrigation sensor devices. Great, we'll put them in.
Well, I think to Hollis's point, the question becomes, if the town is contributing in any way to insurance, then it, without question, should be up to the town's normal standards. So that would add further evidence to that position.
Okay, so I think we have a motion. Did it get seconded?
Yeah, I seconded it.
So would you please read the motion again? Because maybe we need to amend it or something.
Oh, geez.
If we can remember what it was.
John moves that the Park and Recreation Commission accept the park and maintenance plan regardless of whether it's an easement or dedication. And Rose seconded that.
Is there an opportunity to caveat this with the things we just discussed or?
Yeah, do you want to make an amendment? Do you
You
want to
gotta
make an
make it a
amendment?
little simpler than like this whole conversation.
Yeah. Huh? Do you want to make an amendment to it, Brian? Not sure how that works. Who knows? Robert's
Well,
rules.
You Need to make a new motion.
So
We have to vote on this one first then,
You
right?
have a discussion and then you vote.
Well,
We've
you
been
had a
discussing.
discussion,
We've
but
been discussing.
he could
You're supposed to
do a
discuss
new
that.
motion that supersedes this last
After- I
motion.
know, but we
You
have
vote.
been.
You both and
We,
before and after.
you made a motion and we've been discussing it. And now we have to vote on it because there's a motion on the table. And then
Right.
we can make a new motion.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so we're voting on this motion.
Vice Mayor.
Brian,
You said Brian wanted to
I
amend
don't-
it.
Because if you had a
Available.
discussion and you didn't vote, I think you can just
Make a new motion.
make a new motion. You don't have to vote on this last motion.
All right,
We
Brian.
don't?
Because
are you
apparently,
ready?
I don't think that you have to make a final decision because you had a discussion.
So I would propose a motion, or I make a motion that we say we accept the maintenance plan with the contingency that the plan be maintained in accordance with current town standards at all times.
I second.
Yeah, I think that's redundant. I think that's already,
Regardless of if it's.
Unless the maintenance plan literally says we will update this every time the town changes its standard, it's not redundant.
right.
Because if the town decides that some weed is, horrendous and that's now the next big thing for the town, and this maintenance plan says we don't have to care about that weed, we have a problem.
Okay, is everybody ready to vote or are there any other comments? Because we have to keep moving along here. We still have to talk about the easement piece.
So somebody seconded it?
Yep.
Rose seconded it. Okay, so Kay, will you read it one more time? And then we're gonna vote.
John moved that the Park and Recreation Commission accept the park and maintenance plan, whether an easement or dedication, with an amendment by Brian that states with the contingency plan being maintained within the current town of Carbondale standards at all times. And Rose seconded
Okay,
both of them.
I'd say with a contingency that instead of the contingency plan.
With contingency
that.
that,
That the plan be maintained.
okay.
right,
Okay,
I'm in favor.
okay, all in favor? All
All
right,
right,
Yes.
Yes.
okay. Motion carries.
all right, what's the next one?
Easement or dedication?
Do we discussed, I feel like we did a lot of discussion.
We did some, but does anybody else have anything to add? John expressed concerns about not owning it outright. However, it seems like the way that it is now, that I don't know. If we say it has to be an outright dedication, what does that mean then? That all this stuff goes away at this point and
Well, we
What does
wouldn't
that
give up.
mean?
We'd go to the trustees, and if
then
they
they would
said
decide?
that we won't take an easement, we don't have a current plan for what we would do.
It'll probably end up maintaining its current state as a private park.
Okay, and then you're out of compliance with what?
Well,
The
we
code
would
or
have
something?
to, we would have to figure out another way to finance the project that
Yeah.
isn't apparent at this moment. I
Okay,
mean, the reason why this is all happening
right,
is to be able to break it into chunks so that it can be financed as the buildings go up into permanent financing.
Mhm,
And right now, the bank has the entire property
As
mhm.
collateral.
as collateral. So this is to create smaller bites. And that's worth something to the project, but it's not like, if the town can't work with that, then we got to go figure out Plan B. But it's
Yeah.
probably not dedicating land and building a park and maintaining a
What
park.
you're gonna see at the trustee level is, we tried to keep the financing local with American National Bank to keep the revenue in the community. And we have outgrown their capacity to lend.
Mm.
If they had the capacity to lend on this, or if we have the capacity to take American National Bank out of the construction financing on the entire parcel, which we're also working on, that's the only way this project will move forward. So we feel it's just the smart solution so that when we build a building and we get a building up, occupied and stabilized, that we can take that asset out of the collateral of American National Bank's loan and create permanent financing potentially with another lender to ensure the success of the project.
And this is not your,
I understand,
problem,
but
I
thank you
just-
for
yeah.
explaining that.
That's
I
it.
appreciate.
It's the only
So-
reason we're here.
Is there any reason why, how we could lose the easement? The town could lose, and I say we, the town could lose the easement.
the town
And I
could
mean, where it would all of a
abandon-
sudden just like not be a public park anymore.
could abandon an easement
Yeah.
if it so chose.
Yeah, in other words, we
The
could go-
town would, but that would be the town saying, no, we don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
And then it becomes a private park.
Right.
Is there anything on your end that would cause us to lose this public park?
We wouldn't have that right. It becomes
It's
a
up to the town.
part of the title to the property. So with a condominium project, there's still only one parcel of land. There are condo lots that are definable and can be separately financed, but it's still one parcel of land. And with the title to that land is this easement responsibility.
Okay.
So there's nothing we could do on our own to extinguish it.
Yeah.
The recipient of the easement has the ability to reject it and say, I don't want this. It doesn't happen very often because it's a property right. And so people tend not to give it up, but theoretically it could happen.
Can I just clarify, just for myself before I vote? So you're saying you want to essentially give us access to a park. You're gonna maintain it and
Gonna build it,
build it, maintain it,
service it,
service it in perpetual
correct.
for,
And the
for,
only thing the town's gonna do is give the public access to the park and insure it.
okay, thank
That's
you.
it. It's that simple.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I move we accept the easement rather than fee simple dedication for the Lot 1 park.
I second.
So fast.
Okay. Any further discussion? Brian, any thoughts?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, do you want to read the motion again?
Susan moves that the Park and Recreation Commission accept the easement rather than fee simple dedication for the park, is that right? And Leslie seconded it
Yeah,
Okay.
it's called the Lot 1 park.
for Lot 1 Park. Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
No,
Opposed?
one.
Okay,
Thanks. I know we've taken up a lot of your
Yeah,
time
thank you.
and
Well, we really
appreciate the give and
appreciate
take and
Like I said, I love it. You
This is
guys, yeah.
important, you know,
And you
this is
guys-
important and it's a great asset to add and, you know, in a diverse way too, with the playground equipment and the futsal court. I mean, I'm excited to see it all.
And I just appreciate your time and patience
Yeah.
with all of our questions and solid answers without smirks and just
And lack
going
of
through the process. I
understanding
really
things
appreciate
and-
it.
plan got better. That's when you know you have a good outcome, when something gets better instead of falling apart. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
thanks for hanging in. Hopefully you enjoyed the
You know what I didn't-
entertainment at the early part of the
humbling sitting here watching the back of my head.
It's not too bad. Come on, Bob, be nice.
Color.
Looks good.
It
Bob.
was, I did
You
have
got
color
you got a
there
full head
once.
there, bud. You're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Okay. Okay, so the aquatics, where we're at, we don't have a lot of info on this. Eric put in the packet the schedule of what's going on. You guys probably have gotten your Tabor notice already, and then the revised Tabor notice, because the first one, I was like, what's different about this? And the only thing that was different was the first one came out and said it increased your taxes, and it's like, wrong-o. So, that's what, and it says right at the top of the revised one that it doesn't.
That's only if you read the second one.
Correct. I know,
A
but,
lot of people don't do that. They've already read it once, so
well, John, we
It's
don't have
un-
any control over that.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but
It is unfortunate, but then there have been some really there were good pro statements in there, and there was one against. And so, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So, were there any questions or on any of that? It's just kind of like an update where we're at.
Has there been any discussion or option or whatever about an interview on KDNK or anything?
So the Soper Sun did reach out to us this week about doing an article. So I met with the town manager about that before I moved forward. And so we can I provided the link to the master plan and the conceptual plan, and then because it was Raleigh who reached out, and told him we could answer any specific factual questions he has on the proposed design or the existing conditions. So hopefully there will be an article with that information. But again, as we've discussed, we have to be really careful about what we can say that in any way is a pro or con statement.
So is he going to
hopefully that
interview
will happen.
somebody to talk to about it, or?
He emailed me and I emailed him back that we're happy to answer any of his questions, and I haven't heard back from him yet in what format he wants to do that.
Is there anybody we know that's like one of the really active swimmers or something, or I don't know, a Girl Scout leader?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr.
I
Kirk, what are we
mean,
looking for?
we were unfortunately as staff instructed not to approach people to solicit support. Unfortunately, we can't do that. And so any of our knowledge of who is a good supporter is really lost on us.
Changed, didn't it? I thought last time we could write letters.
You guys as a commission, if you want to, as a commission member, but not representing the commission as a citizen.
As a citizen.
As
not-
staff, even as citizens, we have been instructed just to steer clear, to keep it simple, or to keep it separate.
And you cannot reference that you're
Right.
a commission member. You're
Exactly.
writing it as
A private citizen
a
only.
private citizen.
I mean, I'm happy to put something together with the girls, but they can talk about what they like about the pool.
So
Yeah,
commission
private
members, is
citizen
there
is a
somebody?
full user.
Is there somebody that we can recognize as a friend of the pool or something that we could reach out to advocate for this?
Anything you do, Susan, you do on your own as a private citizen. We, as a commission, cannot go out
Right.
and solicit people. If you know somebody who swims laps every day or something,
don't.
you might want to encourage them, but we can do it privately, but not as a commission and not representing as a commissioner.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So anyway, this is just, I think Eric was just putting this all in there just to let us know the timeline and what, kind of like what's going on. And ballots are going to be coming out before you know it. So. Okay, anything else on this topic? Okay. Jesse reports and updates.
I wrote my first grant recently. Eric and Lauren gave me direction to submit a FMLD grant for new skylights and replacement LED lighting in the rec center. Back in 2017, we did a LED retrofit replacement project in conjunction with the Third Street Center. We applied for a grant jointly and did the rest of the facility. But to do the basketball gymnasium was too expensive at that time. And a lot of those lights are failing. So that was part of it. And then I also am requesting to change out our skylights because they are cracking, leaking, going to fail at some point. So we're hoping to get the grant to replace both of those things in the rec center. In conjunction with Senior Matters, we put out a senior program use survey to solicit some feedback on their programming and ours and what seniors are looking for, what they've participated in. And we had 105 responses. So it's pretty good. So I'll meet with them to discuss what those responses were and see what we can do moving forward to try to promote senior programming in town.
Are you gonna meet with them on your own or are you gonna wait for Eric to come back?
Probably wait for Eric to come back.
Yeah.
Our ice rinks have lasted the longest of any year. They are still open.
With lots of snow on it
Kind of hit
tonight.
or miss, yeah, depending on the conditions. But usually they last about a week into February. So this is kind of wild. They're still going. Definitely skate at your own risk. Our summer employment options are up and out there. Oh, yeah.
The one at the rodeo has signs that it's only open afternoon.
So we're trying to keep people off during the warm middle hours.
Feels like afternoon, like more, like I would think that we would want people there in the morning. When it's
So
cold.
we're trying to, between like 10 and 5, we don't want people on there. So as soon as the sun starts hitting it, it starts getting soft. So before 10 or after 5 preferably. So before it gets too warm and then after the sun dips behind.
Open at noon when I was there last.
Oh, that would be the old signage then, because we used to do, when the maintenance is happening, it happens
When I
until
was there a
noon.
week ago, it
Yeah.
said closed until noon.
Because that would be for morning maintenance.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Summer employment, we're hiring for mow crew, lifeguards, swim instructors, front desk, rec assistants. So if you know anybody who's looking, send them our way. And summer programming registration is going to open up soon. Youth baseball, softball will be first on March 15th, and then the rest of the programming will follow at the end of March and into April. Early May.
John, are you participating?
June and July.
Early May.
Early May for swim lessons. I think that's it.
I mean, I think last year it sold out within like a half an hour or something.
Yeah, they go really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Margaret will be doing what she did last year, maybe the year before, and capping one session per student, where before a lot of times parents would just blanket sign their kid up for everything. And so this gives a little bit more equality across the board for getting more kids at least one session, since we are limited on how much we can offer. And I did talk to Patty today and she said Eric was having a great time on the river. So
Do they have a cell phone? Is that what she's-
they have an inReach. Yeah,
All right. So she didn't go.
she didn't go. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully he's gonna stay warmed.
Ugh.
And I
That's why
asked
she didn't want to
spec-
go, because it's too cold.
Specifically, I asked Siri today, I'm like, what's the weather like in the Grand Canyon? The high tomorrow is 38 with a low of 18 and snow
Oh
and
my
snow.
Ugh.
You know, and I went like, well, at least the park rangers know who's in there.
Yeah.
They can check.
Well, next year he'll probably do better scheduling job.
Well, I mean, he's waited 40 years to get this permit. Oh, my gosh. Oh, Eric, if you watch this, I'm
Warm
praying
vibes,
for you,
yeah.
man. Yeah, man, we're sending you more vibes. Oh, my God. Okay. Okay, Luis isn't here. Anybody else have anything? I have a couple things, but anyone else have anything?
Can I just say, and I think I forgot to say this during aquatics, and I don't, anyways, I'm just gonna state it and I don't know where it can go or what it can do.
And now that we have this new property that the town just got, is there any go backs on looking at the new property for the pool? It's right across from the rec center. And I feel like it would be prime property to reopen up a discussion about where to put the pool.
Someone did make a comment about that in the, I think it was in letter to the editor. I read something about that, about rethinking the whole plan for what we're at. But if you remember, we did a charade and a public outreach back and before COVID, and that's how we got to where we are now.
But that was before this was even an option, you know?
Well, no, that we discussed behind the rec center
Right.
or,
But our reasoning for behind this rec center, I think our biggest stuff was neighbors that they didn't like and the view, and you could have views and no neighbors.
but
at
it was
this new
pretty,
property.
it was pretty close
Yeah,
also, the
Well,
discussion.
except that one lot could be developed, there's gonna be plans for development of that green lot.
yeah, but I mean, in one of our plans, we had development.
Yeah, but there won't be a view then,
Oh, I see.
because you're talking about next to
Yeah.
Thunder River Theater and then that park that's all squared off on Main Street,
Could develop,
it can develop and you won't have a view.
I just feel like it should go at some point. I don't know where to, like I said, I'm not sure what to do with this comment, but I just wanted it publicly put somewhere. And if we can talk about it again or bring it back to discussion, because if there's a potential having it that close again to the rec center, I feel like it's beneficial.
Okay.
It seems like a fair statement, Rose, that
Yeah.
the circumstances that existed then don't exist now. We now have, as a town, we have bonus land that
Mhm.
previously would have come with a big price tag before. And we have lots of the previous considerations no longer apply, and we have new circumstances. I think it's totally fair.
So I'm not sure what happens next with that comment, but
Well, it's in there. Eric will see it in the minutes. We can, you can call him and talk to him about it too. And I mean, I guess we have to see where first off, if we're gonna be able to bond anything, and then I think it goes into like more of that stuff again, which I think would be probably the time to look at that.
We'd have to reopen the entire discussion, and we really aren't gonna know anything at all until the trustees figure out what they're gonna do with that stuff, and at least what possibilities.
I would
Yeah.
just like to put it on the trustees'
Well,
Radar.
radar.
we
I
should
just
certainly
keep
propose.
that comment under the table till after the vote and see where we're at with the pool
Well,
already.
they'll read it in their packet and the minutes and stuff, and
Yeah,
we can go from there.
We
So-
should certainly propose re-envisioned options to the trustees. I mean, that's our function. Is to say, hey, by the way, with this other land, there are other alternatives to the pool that weren't previously available to us that you should consider within your overall general plan. If we wait until they decide on their plan and then propose pool options, that doesn't make any sense. It's our function to give them options from which to choose.
Yep.
Have they already hired, and I think they were putting it out, a request for proposal at least, to hire a consultant to examine options for those properties? And maybe it's just worth putting, like you say, putting a bug in their ear.
I don't know. The problem is we don't have anybody that knows that's
Right,
here.
right.
Because, Kay doesn't take the minutes for the trustee meetings. Eric isn't here and Luis isn't here.
Right.
So, we do have it in the minutes though, and we can, bring it up
Highlight it.
next meeting with Eric when he's here or, whatever.
Yeah, I can ask.
Or just even highlight it to
Don,
Louise.
yeah, to see.
Or Jesse'll, she's gonna
Oh, I've got-
check into it.
I've got all the, what are they, the commission, the town trustees on the phone, it's a little texty text.
So, okay,
Sorry,
so,
didn't mean to interrupt, you can keep going with your, that was like a pass back to the pool, were you done? Okay.
so, Two things. Last year at this time, it was in March, we did the staff recognition kind of thing, just like thanking them and all this other stuff. Those of you that weren't on the commission last year, we were all on Zoom with kazoos and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So, so I have talked with Eric about that, you know, so that we do it like an annual kind of thing. But since he's gone right now, we're looking at probably doing that in April. So you party girls want to get on anything with him or talk
Yeah,
to
for
him
sure.
about
Does
doing
anybody else
something?
want to be part of a side commission to plan something? I'm in.
I mean, it could be just like a little potluck or thing
Yeah, it
like
was
we did the
Tracy and I
last
that did it
time.
last year,
Yeah,
depending- Do you wanna, we'll just offline.
Yeah.
some fun
come up with
ideas? Great.
something and then talk to Eric
Got
and,
lots of free time.
yeah. Well, you're the,
You too.
but you,
Great.
you can put together a party pretty good, both of you.
Okay. I'm in charge. That's what I do.
And then the other thing too, I know, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Eric about this, with him being on too, is, we wanted to do that work session or looking at the work session, and Kay sent some possibilities, and it's kind of like we're looking at maybe the end of April or sometime in May. So I'm still gonna, May is bad for you. So I mean, right now, it looked like, and right now it looked like, from what I remember with Kay's availability and the availability of space and stuff, it's gonna be like that last Wednesday in April, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, something like that. I mean, I'm
That
sure everybody
last
wants
week
to do a
is
Friday.
5 Point in April.
No, she checked it.
Okay, yeah, it's the 21st.
That's not the last week.
Okay, there's another one.
There's a,
Okay.
so anyway, when
Then
Eric
I
gets
am not
back,
Not that that matters.
you guys just kind of block that out, okay? The last Wednesday, the last Thursday, and like that Saturday of April, yeah.
I'm in Costa Rica,
When? The whole week?
the 25th through the 25th of April through the 7th of
Okay,
May.
well,
That is
I
public
don't know
notice.
what we're gonna do.
How long is this work session?
That's a good question, Susan. We haven't done one before. This is kind of based on your suggestion of looking at the master plan and the things that haven't been done yet.
We have done them before. We did them when we were talking about, we did one at my house. my
Yeah.
That was
kitchen.
about the pool,
This is
Yeah.
about master.
but
plan,
this
so
is
we
about
haven't
the
done
master plan.
Yeah, but it's still the same thing, a work party. And we didn't have to have Kay there because we recorded it, somebody took notes.
Mhm.
And then we also did one on Kathleen's back porch,
Mhm.
same deal.
That was the same one. That's the
Yep.
only one we've
No.
done.
No, we've done
The other
one in
ones
my
were friends of the
kitchen.
pool. They were commissioned.
That was other people, though. That wasn't a commission thing.
Yeah, it was. Eric was there.
Yeah. but
That was at
different.
Kathleen's house. The one at your house was not.
Eric was there.
Right, but it wasn't like an official.
It was
Parks
more
and
than, we had more than a quorum of Parks and Rec there, and somebody took notes, and we talked about the pool.
And there were other people besides the commissioners there.
No,
Yeah, because I was there and it was before I was a member of the commission, I think. It was like-
Oh, what's wrong with?
Well, anyway, the
Anyway.
point is, it would probably be, what, a couple hours?
Okay.
I'm guessing.
And so what was wrong with the 1st of May?
Well, it just depends on availability. I'll talk with Eric when he gets back.
Okay.
That's all I can
Let's do
say.
one of those survey monkeys.
I am. I'm gonna do
Oh.
his doodle, but I don't have dates and times to
Okay.
do a doodle yet. That's my
And
point.
all of May is bad for you.
Well, she goes to the end of school.
Ah, okay.
But you know what? We may not end up with everybody anyway. So
May 12th, or when is the last day of school? for you
that's the
guys?
point.
My art show is May 11th through the 13th, and so I'm at school until like 8 o'clock at night. and
Right.
The week before, I'm setting.
What about the week after?
The week after is finals and, putting
Oh.
in grades and finishing up.
So,
Um,
okay,
It's just hard. And then we have baccalaureate. and-
yeah, guys, we'll just, anyway.
was
I,
thinking
it's,
the last week of May
the
is
point
last week,
is
so-
that it's not off the radar. It's just that I haven't been able to move forward with Eric being gone with his dad's death. And then this is just like, we just haven't been able to get it together. So, but we will do it because I think we want to try to do it before we go June around to all the parks and all that other stuff too. And the other thing too, in preparation for all of this, which everybody could be doing now, is looking online at the updated what do we call it, chapter 4 or whatever from the master plan that he highlights. Eric put part of it in our packet the last month, but there was like, it started with like goal 4. So goal 1, 2, and 3 were not included. So that's why I would recommend that you go out to the website. There's a link to it in your onboarding packet that I gave you that I sent you in September, if you need a direct link to it. So otherwise, it's on the Parks and Recreation web page, not the
We can
rec
just send out a
center.
link to everybody on our like email chain.
Yeah, so, okay, but that's where it is. So,
Okay. Hey, Jesse.
Yes.
Write a note to yourself to send Rose and I some available dates to take.
I think we do it we do it just before the meeting or during the meeting. It's a part of it. We
for the
just bring-
staff, we're just gonna do it before our
Yeah.
April meeting. We have a date, it's just a matter of like an hour before or something.
Was that already a year ago that we did the like fun games and stuff with the?
No, that was
No.
September. This was kazoo night.
This
Everybody
was-
was zooming.
Okay, that freaked me
So
out
we
that that
have,
was a year.
we have staff recognition stuff and then we have celebrating the commissioners. That's what we started doing.
Staff and commissioners, got
Yeah.
it. There's always reasons to party. I like it. Okay, what's next? What else you got for us?
That's it.
Where's
I make a motion
Keaton
to end the
Grove?
meeting. Oh,
Keter Grove.
Yeah, where is that?
If you.
across from my house.
133, you walk down, you kind of go down.
Right in
it's-
front of your house?
Yeah, it's those green apartments in front of,
And you have to-
right in between Hendricks and Ross, Hendrick and Ross. So like across 133 from my house directly goes into Keter Grove. There's like a road that people walk illegally across the road there.
It goes back to the Thompsons and the museum.
Yeah, and those greenhouses.
Kind of like on the side.
Yep, right next to Hendrick Park.
And it's a park. And it's a small one.
That's the park we've been talking about all tonight. Yeah.
Pocket Park. Yep.
I make a motion to end the meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi, bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you,
Thanks for
everybody.
coming.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Susan.
All the other